Welcome back to another minor league update video. This is the April 30th video covering the games played from April 22nd through April 28th. On those games, we're going to go ahead and get started off with the Sacramento Rivercats. Really, I mean, when you look through the Giants system, um, it was a rough week for individual performance. The teams actually did fine. None of them had a losing record this week. But especially amongst position players, it was a lot of struggles. Nobody really, had a huge week offensively. A few guys had, nice overall weeks, some nice moments. Some guys hit some balls hard. A lot of guys made loud contact at various times. So some positive moments there. But unless you were a pitcher, it was probably going to be a pretty rough week. But we're going to go ahead and start off with the Rivercats and their AAA affiliate. They played the Las Vegas, the A's affiliate in Sacramento. They went 3-3. They've moved to 17-10 on the season. Going ahead and starting with their number one prospect, Marco Luciano, 5 for 18. Did hit his first home run of the season. 2 doubles as well, 6 walks and 6 strikeouts. 6 strikeouts and 24 plate appearances, right around that, that 25% range, which is good. He's still a bit high for the season. We've discussed him a bit in the past. A little too passive at the plate, especially for my taste. Some things he needs to work on there. Defensively, made another error this week, so needs some work. Obviously on both sides, which is fine. Nick Ahmed's playing really well. I don't think there's really a push for him. There was a bit of a scare with Ahmed in the game the other day where he kind of took one up off his hand wrist area on a play in the field, but he finished the game, seemed to be okay. I was monitoring this game to see if the Sunday game to see if either Luciano or Schmidt was pulled. Luciano didn't start, but my gut says Schmidt would have been the guy that would have came up had there been some kind of injury to Ahmed. But luckily Ahmed's fine. So Luciano's gonna keep getting his work down in Sacramento. And I think the main concern with Luciano is just developing the bat. I think it's pretty clear his long-term future isn't at shortstop. They haven't started playing him at any other positions yet. Remains to be seen if that's something they toy with this season. Unfortunately, you look at the Sacramento roster and the places that you might move him, there's kind of people blocking him at all those spots. The one spot I could see if they decided to try and test him out over at first base, for instance, they only have David VR over there. He's a guy that could be a pretty easy, maybe give him a fresh start somewhere. He might be a guy that they trade. He's not having a great year so far. So that would be the one spot to maybe monitor. But, with Schmidt there and Wisely there and the just full cupboard of outfielders, I'm not really sure where they can move Luciano off of shortstop right now. They would just have to, make the decision and start him, figure out the rest after. But he still had, overall a solid week. I mean, when you reach base 11 out of 24 times, I'm not going to sit here and say you had a bad week, especially with 3 extra base hits. So he had a good week. Number 2 prospect, Carson Wisenhunt, he is heating up. He had his best week to date. Had 2 appearances. The first appearance, he went 3 2/3 innings, 0 earned runs, 3 hits, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. Second start against Vegas, he went 5 innings pitched, 0 earned runs, 1 hit, 2 walks. Oh, I'm sorry. 1 hit, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. Actually struck out JD Davis, who's making a rehab start there in Vegas. And his control was much improved. His 2 outings, not very efficient in his first, 74 pitches, 46 for strikes. Second outing, 56 pitches, 38 for strikes. The second outing was very efficient, very solid. Easily could have gone at least the 6. Getting tons of swing and misses with his changeup. You guys are going to be watching the videos here. I mean, you're going to see that thing is nasty. I mean, that is a 70 grade changeup. That is what one of those looks like. And He has a solid breaking ball. It's not the best. His fastball has been living kind of in the low 90s this season. I've seen a lot of 91, 92. I'm sure that looks like 96 after he throws one of those changeups, but not as much velocity as he's had in the past. You've He's a guy that you've seen up in the 94, 95 range. So it's been consistently down a little bit with the fastball velocity, but he can still throw it by you. He's got plenty of strikeouts that he's just thrown a fastball right by someone because they're respecting the changeup a ton. So he had a great week, definitely his best week as a pro. Almost 8 and 2/3 innings with 12 strikeouts in that, and 4 walks. The walks have been an issue. See if he can, he's not giving up a ton of hits. So really, it's like you throw his strikes and he's going to be pretty dominant. I still think he's at least behind Mason Black as far as pitchers you might see come up and make a start this season. But that said, Baggerly's mentioned him. You've heard Pavlovich mention him. A lot of the Giants beat writers have been bringing up Carson Whisenhunt as a guy to watch. So keep that in mind. Now, moving on to Mason Black. We kind of talked about him a little bit. I did my whole Mason Black video. For those of you that didn't see it, check it out on why he should be the next guy to be called up. And I say next guy, but really it's like him and Elliot Ramos. If it was my way, I'd be calling them both up and making some moves from there. But another 5 innings pitch. He allowed 1 run, but 0 earned. 3 hits, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. 71 pitches, 47 for strikes. Another efficient day. He was under that 15 pitch an inning, goal that pitchers usually have. There's not much more I can keep saying about Mason Black. I mean, he's had 4 starts where he's allowed a combined 1 unearned run in 4 of those starts, and then he's had the 1 start where he's made or where he gave up 3 earned in 6 total runs, but only 3 were earned to Reno in what was it was a tough outing. Every pitcher is going to have those, but he's been solid. His next turn in the rotate, because of when he pitched last, if they want to on Wednesday, which would be Snell's spot in this rotation, if they decide not to skip, and they can obviously do a bullpen game again, or they could call up Dalton Jeffries, who's on the 40-man. I would like to see Black get the call, make a move on the 40-man, make room for him, and give him that start. I think he's earned it. I think he should get it. I think he should be the guy that gets, 3 or 4 starts, however many starts until Blake Snell returns. And I think he should be the guy that, the Giants really need to start thinking about where are they going to skip a start here and there. And, they could make it work where, guys like Jordan Hicks might need a start skipped periodically. Wynn, Harrison, all these guys might need a start skipped. And you could kind of just bump Black back, let him start in Snell's spot for a few weeks until Snell's back. And you could theoretically just bump him back, person by person, because, Harrison usually goes right after Snell. Whenever it comes to when Snell's going to return, okay, skip Harrison's start. The next turn around the rotation, skip Hicks start. So you're still giving Black his normal rest, and you're getting these guys, and you can end up keeping them up for, send Roop down or send Sean Jelly down. You can end up keeping him up, and he can make 6, 7 starts, and you kind of gave everybody the breather they need. I mean, I know a lot of people are going to be like, it's early in the season. Don't be moving these guys. But Farhan made a point that his goal is that by September, his best 5 are pitching. So we can't just throw these guys 150 plus innings before September even gets here, where all of a sudden they're going to be all worn out and at the end of their innings cap that the Giants are comfortable throwing them. So just something to keep in mind, just a thought there regarding Mason Black. I digress, and I will move on to Carson Seymour, who he struggled. 4 innings pitched, 4 earned runs, 8 hits, a walk, 4 Ks, 2 home runs. His best pitch is his fastball. It runs mid to high 90s. He has some off speed, but he has some control issues. It seems like a lot of guys seem to sit on that fastball, wait for him to bring it in the zone. and they've been hitting him pretty hard. I still like the potential. If he just needs to develop, a put away pitch off speed. Did throw 46 strikes off of 77 pitches. So, he wasn't all over the place. He was still throwing a decent amount of strikes, but got knocked around. But, it's like we said, all pitchers have kind of these outings where they struggle. So, number 22 prospect, RJ Dabovich, did not play once again, still on the 7-day IL. Number 23 prospect, Kaiwei Tang. He is having a really, really tough year to date. Obviously, he was up with the big league team, struggled, gave up multiple runs in every outing in San Francisco, got optioned about a week or so ago, and made 2 outings for the Rivercats this week. 1 and a third innings pitched, 5 earned runs, 6 hits, 2 walks, and a strikeout in the first outing. The second outing, he went 2 2/3 innings, 6 earned runs, 4 hits, 2 walks, and 2 strikeouts. So he's getting lit up, and he's a guy to keep an eye on as a possible, and I'm not saying they're going to do it in April or May, but he's a guy that I think you need to keep an eye on as a potential 40-man roster casualty if he continues to pitch like this. I think it would be an easy call for the Giants. I know they like some of his potential, but he's going to have to start showing something and fast, because you can't be pitching to like a 20-something ERA and have them keep you on the 40-man all year, especially when you have kind of a long list of guys that are going to need to come off. 3 guys off the top of my head with Alex Cobb, Tristan Beck, and Robbie Ray that are all on the 40-man, that are all on the 60-day IL, that when they come off, they're going to have to make a 40-man roster move, because right now they're not taking up a roster spot while they're on the 60-day IL. So keep an eye on Kaiwei Tang. He needs to start throwing the ball a lot better if he's going to stick around. Their number 29 prospect, Randy Rodriguez, 2 innings pitched, gave up 1 earned run. He came in for 2 games. One of the games he gave up an earned run, 2 hits overall, 2 walks, and 3 strikeouts in his 2 innings of work. He's had a really good season to this point. Just finally got kind of knocked around in an outing, but overall he's been really good. Wouldn't worry too much about that one outing. The other bullpen option that it kind of, it's mind-boggling to me that they haven't given him a shot yet, but Juan Sanchez, 2 more games, went one of them he only recorded 1 out, but 1 and a third innings, 0 earned runs, gave up 1 hit and a strikeout. He's got like a 0.6 something whip and about the same ERA. Dude's been absolutely dominant for the Giants. So would love to see him get an opportunity. Kind of shocked they haven't yet. But on to kind of the position player group, the guys that, as I go over every week, as kind of guys to keep an eye on that could help impact the roster at some point. Starting off with Elliot Ramos. He's cooled off a little bit, but he still had a nice week overall. If you look at it, did have a lot of strikeouts come up. 5 for 20, 2 home runs, 2 walks, a stolen base, 10 strikeouts. Did also make an error in right field. It's his first of the season, though. So, he did some good things. Hit a lot of balls hard. He actually had a game where he went 3 for 4, actually reached base 4 times out of 5 appearances, because he drew a walk in that game as well, where his batted balls in that game, he had 111 mile an hour batted ball, 94 exit velocity on 1, 106.5, and 108.9. Every ball that he put in play was 94 plus, 3 of which were 106 plus. So it's kind of the same story. When he gets the barrel on the ball, it's impressive. And he's been doing a lot. He has 7 home runs now. I don't know what else he needs to do. Obviously, the strikeouts were an issue. He had the sombrero on Sunday that really drug it up. Even 6 strikeouts and 22-ish plate appearances would have been a little high, but it at least would have been closer to that reasonable range. 10 just looked a lot worse after the sombrero. But, guys are going to have games like that. It is what it is. On the season as a whole, though, he's still about 27% strikeout percentage. He had been sitting at like 24%, between 23 and 25% all season up until the sombrero game. So I anticipate that coming back down a little bit. We'll see kind of how he does going forward. But, when your cooled off week is that you bat 250 with 2 home runs and 2 more walks, like, okay, sign me up for that, because the Giants have been really struggling offensively for any consistency, and he could definitely help, especially against left-handers where he's been crushing them for like the second year in a row in AAA, where he is absolutely pulverized left-handed pitching. And you look at what the Giants are doing right now against lefties, and you got Tom Murphy struggling and Slater struggling, and you got Lee and Conforto who aren't great against lefties, as well as Flores is kind of scuffling. So they could really use a little bit of help. So moving on for my weekly Ramos rant, and we have Luis Matos, who just can't seem to get going. I feel like I say the same thing every week regarding Luis Matos. He went 5 for 21, a double, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts. The strikeouts were a little higher than you're kind of used to seeing with him, 20% rate for the week. Still reasonable in the season. He's been in kind of like the 12, 13, 14% range. It's about normal for him, maybe even a little high for AAA. But overall, he just can't seem to get that big hot week where he just gets going. And he had some bad luck. I watched him rip a ball deep into the hole between third and short. Saw the shortstop make kind of like a sliding play, pop up from deep in the hole, uncork this seat across to beat him by like, it was bang bang. I mean, it felt like they could have called him safe. I mean, he's been having a lot of outs like that where he scorches the ball and he just, unlucky. So, but at the end of the day, you are what your average is. You are what your numbers say you are at that time. And he's hitting, about 230 and with about a 700 OPS. So he needs to get going if he wants to make any kind of push to get any kind of role in the big league team. I think it's pretty clear Elliot Ramos deserves the first shot over Matos at this exact moment, but it's a fluid situation. You never know when the opportunity arrives who's going to be the guy that's positioned himself. Moving on, Brett Wisely, 5 for 20, hit a home run, a double, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. Again, just keeps getting on base. Nice, a couple extra base hits. That was nice to see. Hasn't been striking out a ton. That's been really nice to see. So, Wisely's having himself a nice year. Tyler Fitzgerald's still playing really well. Had a 3-hit game on Sunday. He's not doing anything to deserve to get sent down. So Wisely's not exactly making a push right this second, but keep it up. There's always that possibility. Injury, when Tyro looked like he might have been hurt, Wisely could have made a lot of sense as a lefty option where they could have platooned him and Fitzgerald potentially. So, he very well may get an opportunity at some point. Casey Schmidt cooled off, so to speak. 7 for 25 with 3 doubles, a triple, 2 walks, and 6 strikeouts. The thing with Casey Schmidt that I'm seeing that just has really impressed me is just the overall balance in his swing right now. And you'll see, I mean, some of these balls he's hitting, he almost looks like he's just hitting off a tee in warmups. I mean, that's kind of the swing he has going. He's taken some pitches. He's making pitchers at least come into the strike zone. It was encouraging to see him draw a couple walks this week. I don't ever care if he's a high walk guy. He's a guy that really just needs to get that walk percentage to like 7%, 6-7%, just somewhere in there, because his main thing should be at least just making the guys come into the zone, because he doesn't have much swing and miss on pitches in the zone. His swing and misses when he chases. And you can see that based on like his numbers from last year. He had like a 90% contact rate on pitches in the zone last season. So if he can just get guys to have to throw strikes to him, he could be really good. And he's been barreling the ball. He's swinging a hot bat. defense is still solid. He did make an error this week, but seemed like everybody did in Sacramento. But defense has been really good. Watching him play third, it's funny because I'll watch a lot of, I'll have both Sacramento and the Giants game going a lot of times at the same time. I'll have one on TV, one on the iPad, whatever. And it's really funny because you watch Chapman play third, and then you watch Casey Schmidt play third, and there are so many similarities. They look so similar. The throwing, they're just vacuums. Some of the plays they'll make kind of on the move. They're just both really excellent, phenomenal, whatever you want to call them, defensive third baseman. So, not saying Casey Schmidt's going to go be a multi-platinum glove winning third baseman, but it's just really fun to watch him play third. He's really excellent there. Shortstop, he's been solid. I think he could handle the position, be really, really good. If they had to bring him up, he's not going to be, he's not going to be Nick Ahmed, but I think he'd be pretty close. The arm's certainly better. He has that added element, but not as natural at short as he is at third. It's pretty clear just watching him play the position. So moving on past Sacramento, going over to the AA team, Richmond Flying Squirrels. They went 4-2 versus Bowie. They are now 11-10 on the season. Hayden Birdsong, kind of the other star of the Giants system for the week. 5 innings pitched of no hit ball in his outing. No earned runs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts through 60 pitches, 44 for strikes. Like this version of Hayden Birdsong is a top 100 prospect. And I would not be shocked if he ends up on the list. I feel like I say this every week that he's going to end up on that top 100 list sooner rather than later. He's got a 1.65 ERA in AA right now. When he's throwing strikes, he is flat out dominant. I mean, he has 3 plus pitches. His fastball, mid to upper 90s. His splitter might be his best pitch, and it's not even the one that he throws like consistently for strikes. But when he throws it for strikes, it is disgusting. It like falls off a table when he keeps it down in the zone. And then his curveball, which is an excellent curveball that gets a ton of swing and miss. So if he is just a fastball curveball guy kind of going forward as like his 2 really good pitches that he can command, you're looking at a guy that I think has like mid-rotation potential still, like back end to mid-rotation potential. If he can get that splitter figured out with any kind of consistency, I think he could be a frontline guy. Like you're kind of watching it with Wynn right now up on the big league roster where his fastball split slider for him and not a curveball, but fastball split slider combination. He's got 3 pitches that are working really well for him. If you can do that with Birdsong, like you're going to have something there. So excellent. He's probably going to earn his way up to AAA before too long. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if by like June he's in AAA. But another great outing for him. He had 2 good outings last week, another good one this week. He's kind of on a roll, which is nice to see. Reggie Crawford pitched in 2 games. It seems pretty clear they are kind of committed to using him as more of a reliever. 2 games, 2 innings pitched. He gave up a home run in each game, 1 earned run in each game. Did give up 3 in one of them, but only 1 was earned. 3 hits combined, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. First game, he threw 17 pitches, 11 for strikes. Second game, 29 pitches, 14 for strikes. So the first outing, I will say, looked good throughout the outing. Made 1 mistake, guy hit it out of the yard. Is what it is. Looked dominant outside of that pitch. Second outing, it was a bit of a roller coaster. Had a wild pitch that inning. Defense made an error behind him on the first runner who reached. Then he served up a homer right after that. Then guy walked a guy, and then a guy moved to second on a wild pitch, gave up a single, struck out a couple guys to limit the damage from there. But he's a guy that similar to, kind of how I was talking about Birdsong. He's got 3 really good pitches, just needs to control them. If he does, he's going to be really good. And with his fastball that's consistently upper 90s, sometimes triple digits, he could be a very dominant late inning reliever. But we'll see. I think they're pretty committed to using him out of the pen right now. But the pitch counts will be something to monitor, see if they try and let him stretch out, get 2 or 3 innings. He's never thrown more than 2 innings in a game in professional ball. So we'll see kind of what they do there. But there's a lot of talk that they want to bring him up at some point this season. So when you can throw 100, you can move fast. So we'll see what happens. Now it gets ugly. Number 13 prospect, Grant McCray, 1 for 18, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts, and a stolen base. Your number 15 prospect, Vaughn Brown, 2 for 11, had a triple and a double, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts, and a stolen base. Then you have number 20 prospect, Victor Barracoto, 4 for 19, a walk, and 7 strikeouts. These are the guys that are making up kind of the top and middle of the order in Richmond right now. It is amazing that Richmond went 4 games or went 4-2 this week when you look at their performance. And then even Hunter Bishop, 2 for 17 with a double, 2 walks, a stolen base, and 10 strikeouts. I mean, they are getting 0 production out of their offense. You look up and down the Richmond lineup right now, there's a lot of 5-6, low 700 OPSs. Nobody is swinging the bat well right now there. And except for maybe like Carter Howell, who's swinging it a little bit okay. But their pitching has been dominant in Richmond, and they're finding ways to win games. So good for the Double-A squad. The one guy that did have a decent week at the plate in Richmond, Adrian Sugastay, their catcher, 3 for 12 with a home run, a double, 2 walks, and 3 strikeouts. So Sugastay had a nice week. Someone to keep an eye on. I think he could be potentially their, backup catcher in a couple, 2 years when Tom Murphy's gone. I think he's got some staying power defensively, and he can swing an okay bat from the right side, and I could see him being the backup to Patrick Bailey kind of down the road. We'll see. Time will tell, but he's having a nice season overall. He's hitting about 290 down there. Not a lot of pop yet. He did have the home run and double, but the OPS is in the mid 600s right now. But we'll kind of keep an eye on him, see how he does. He's had a couple good years in a row at the between A ball and high A. So moving on over to the Eugene Emeralds in high A, 3-3 versus Hillsborough. They are 15-6 on the season. Number 18 prospect, Diego Velasquez, 5 for 20, a double, a triple, 4 walks, a strikeout, and 2 stolen bases. Slowed down a little bit at the plate, but still overall a solid week. Number 25 prospect, O'Neal Perez, 5 for 23, 2 walks, 3 stolen bases, and 5 strikeouts. One of his hits was a walk-off as well. So again, a little bit slow, slowing down a little bit, but still an okay week. And then a couple guys I just want to give shout outs to. I brought up Quinn McDaniel last week, 3 for 12, 8 walks. I mean, it's an on-base machine. 3 stolen bases, 5 strikeouts. He's just hitting. It's plain and simple. He just gets on base. He hits. He's a guy that's probably going to get promoted to Double-A before too long. And then another guy that has had an excellent season to this point, Dylan Cumming, kind of an unknown. He's really old for the level. He's 24 years old. His birthday is May 14th. He's going to turn 25 in high A. He's only in his second year of professional ball in the Giants system. He did play a year in the independent league or in an independent league after college. He graduated at Liberty, played a year in independent ball, and then the Giants picked him up. He had a really nice season in A-ball last season. Right now, he has been dominant in high A. And yes, he's super old for the level. So I'd imagine he's going to get a really quick promotion to Double-A. But so far, he's pitched in 5 games, 18 innings pitched, 1 earned run, 7 hits, 4 walks, 24 strikeouts. He's got a 0.61 whip and a 0.5 ERA. So dominant. So just wanted to give him a shout out, even if he doesn't have some great future, potentially, because he, like I said, he is old for the level. He may struggle as he gets to the upper levels, but he's playing so well. He deserves a little love. So check out Dylan Cumming and how he's doing. Now moving over to the Little Giants over in San Jose. They went 4-2 at Fresno. They are now 9-11 on the season. Bryce Eldridge made his return. Did have a really tough week overall. 2 for 20. Did hit a home run. The home run was an absolute missile. 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. So strikeouts were a little high. Not an unreasonable percentage though. The home run swing, he's got that easy power where it doesn't even look like he swings hard and it just clobbers it. Maybe he'll struggle to get to that inside pitch because of his size in his career, but he gets to it better than most you see of that size, and he just has a sweet swing. I think he's going to get going at some point. Missing 2 weeks to injury probably isn't doing him any favors right now, so we'll keep an eye on him in the coming weeks, see if he heats up a little bit. Their number 9 prospect, Maui Ahuna, he only played in 1 game, went 1 for 4, and then he got placed on the 7-day IL. I don't know what the injury is yet, so I will, kind of post about that probably on my Twitter page if I kind of see what that injury is. Their number 10 prospect, Joe Whitman, struggled yet again. He's really struggling with his command so far this season. When it's on, he's dominant. When it's not, he gets knocked around a bit. 4 innings pitched, 3 earned runs, 6 hits, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts, through 72 pitches, 42 first strikes. Their number 26 prospect, Cole Foster. He's another guy that I could see getting kind of a early season promotion. He's went 5 for 21, 3 doubles, a triple, a walk, 3 strikeouts. He's just been solid overall, pretty much week in and week out. This was like one of his worst weeks to date, and it was still, at least a relatively solid week. Wasn't bad. Their number 30 prospect, Jonah Cox, 8 for 23, a walk, 5 strikeouts, and 5 stolen bases. So another guy that's probably going to get promoted early on, keeps hitting. I mean, there's a few guys around the system that I think are pretty clearly candidates to get kind of early promotions. Guys like Quinn McDaniel, Cole Foster, Jonah Cox, Hayden Birdsong. Those are the guys that I could see being in the crop of players that gets that move, in May or early June at the latest. So some guys to keep an eye on. Complex League ball is coming up, so we'll hopefully finally get to see Walker Martin and Rainer Arias in action. So that's something to monitor, keep an eye on. I'd imagine we're going to see them soon. Those games will actually start next week. So, or at the end of this week, I believe. So that's exciting, but that's all I've got for this. As always, if you like the material, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. Appreciate all the support from everyone. Tell me what you guys think. Tell me if there's any prospects you guys want me to, shout out, give my evaluation on, tell you what I'm seeing, talk about just in general, whatever the case is. If there's any of your guys' favorite prospects, tell me about them. Love to hear it. Love the interaction with everybody in the comments. And if you don't follow me on Twitter, check me out there. I post, especially with the minor league guys, I post a lot of stuff there about how guys are doing. So other than that, that's all I've got for today. Thanks for checking it out and joining me. Other than that, go Giants and see ya.